And welcome, everybody to Let's Talk Houston with your host, Dr. J. Lynn Hicks. And I have a very special guest in the studio with us today, Mr. Darryl Miller himself. So, if you know somebody that is interested in investment properties, how to flip houses, how to build credit, call them right now. Call your people, tag your people. Welcome. Click like, click share. Okay, let's go to our page and see if we can find ourselves. Let's see here. I always look. Let's see. We can click like. We can click share. Mr. Miller, you're going to go to your page. I'm just clicking like. I click share. I shared it. Go ahead, click like. Go ahead, click share.
Okay, it didn't pop up yet.
It did not?
I don't mind.
It always pops up on the other. Let's see. I just shared it, so we'll find it. Let's see. Let me see. I don't know how it works. So welcome, everybody. Bienvenidos, buenos dias, bonjour, oui, mademoiselle. What it be, what it do, Houston. How are you? We're so great. I feel great, y'all. It's Friday. We made it. We've come through another phenomenal week. It's a spring break week. It's the Houston Live Stock Show and Rodeo Week. We're coming to a close, and I'm so glad about it. I'm so glad about it because this traffic has been somewhat horrendous, but that is okay. Right. We're just glad to be here. We're not going to stay on long because my lovely guest, he does not feel 100%, but he is a man of his word. So he did show.
Rough day.
Yeah, it's a rough day on Darryl. He doesn't feel 100%, but he did come through. That's what we need. We need people to come through, don't we?
The COVID test was negative. That's a good thing.
Yes, his COVID test was negative, and I'm glad about that.
That's why I'm here. The test was negative. I can get out.
Okay, because had it been positive, I would have preferred that you stay in. But I'm glad it was negative.
Absolutely.
So let's get to it. We're talking about credit. We're talking about flipping houses. We're talking about investment properties. First of all, tell us a little bit about yourself and your background.
Well, I'm a native Houstonian, born and raised.
Mm-hmm.
Been in real estate 31 years.
Wonderful.
Got my start. Ironically, one of the first books I read was The Art of the Deal by y'all's favorite president. And
okay, y'all's favorite president.
And then there was a lady, a broker, who was instrumental in me getting involved in real estate early on.
Mm-hmm.
And so my very first job was as a leasing agent.
Okay.
There was a surgeon, Dr. Winograd, who took a leap of faith, hired me to help run his companies as a leasing agent.
Mm-hmm.
From there, I was promoted to an assistant manager.
Wonderful.
And I really enjoyed it. And a dear friend of mine who showed me a lot of the ropes, Greg Barberno, may he rest in peace. So I took a liking to that. So I knew that even at an early age, I had lots of jobs.
Yeah.
And, I didn't make a very good employee, so I figured, this is a way where I can be independent. I can make a very good living, and if I worked hard enough, caught a few breaks, and desired to, that I could get rich.
Right.
And so I had high ambitions, and from there, I became a real estate agent.
Yes.
I added my mortgage broker's license onto that, so I caught, a lot of times luck plays a role in your success. You can work hard, but a little luck will always take you a lot further. So I was able to ride that wave of mortgages and subprime mortgages from 1997, 98 until the market crashed in 2008. And so I really enjoyed that. Learned a lot about finance. Somewhere in the middle of that, I took a job at Chase Bank, and it was a temporary position through an agency, and I wanted to learn true mortgage banking and what are they doing in a mortgage banking atmosphere.
Yeah.
So once I got a snapshot of that, I was able to flourish as far as mortgages. And my specialty was subprime mortgages. It was hot. Helped a lot of people, and that's what what I really enjoyed, was helping a lot of single mothers and first-time home buyers and single men get their first houses. And I told a lot of people then, buy a house now. If you don't now, then chances are it's going to be very, very difficult later on. And sure enough, it's a lot more difficult now, obviously, than it was then. but still very attainable. Still very attainable. The American dream.
Yes.
Mhm.
So when you say subprime mortgages, what does an individual who is purchasing, I guess, via the subprime market, what does that person look like? The demographic.
Well, there really isn't a market that we call subprime anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the people who were candidates for that are now going with government loans, FHA loans, where you can have some dinged up credit
Mm-hmm.
and not be perfect and still be able to get in with a very low down payment.
Okay.
With subprime, we had people who didn't have to put any money down. I did,
Okay.
you know, probably hundreds of deals
Mm-hmm.
where people would come to the table with $100, $150,
Mm-hmm.
$1,000.
Mm-hmm.
Well, needless to say, those deals no longer exist.
Okay.
But we do have FHA, which generally requires 3.5% down. You could put down more, but that's the lowest.
Mm-hmm.
And you could have some, some spots on your credit
Mm-hmm.
and still get a very good rate and a very fair mortgage. Encourage everybody to shop around.
Right.
And because I don't do those loans anymore.
Right.
But if anybody needs help with any one of those, I'd be happy to point you in the right direction.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So what type of credit score, I'm saying, is a candidate for a subprime? You say they don't do them. I guess it's frequently or as often anymore.
A 620 credit score is the minimum. And you have some people who will advertise, less than that, but it comes with a lot of caveats, and it's a carrot. Best to shoot for a minimum of 620, and if you can reach that, and it's not hard to get there,
Right.
no matter where you're starting from.
Mm-hmm.
As a matter of fact, I tell people, the worse your credit is, the easier it is to get to 620.
Okay.
So you can be a 400.
Okay.
And if you employ the right tactics, patience, strategy,
Mm-hmm.
and it does take money,
Yeah.
then you can get to a 620. And that's just the start. Everything
Okay.
else has to match up. You got to have income.
Mm-hmm.
You got to show that you're credit worthy.
Right.
But that's the basis of it.
The
Is
basis.
that 620 credit score. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So your actual expertise is in investment properties and flipping houses?
Yes. I mean, because of my background,
Mm-hmm.
I hate to say my expertise is limited to one area.
Right.
I am a credit expert.
Okay.
Right? And I love to buy distressed homes,
Mm-hmm.
and that could be due to foreclosure, divorce, death,
Mm-hmm.
fires, any number of reasons where a person is distressed and they need to sell their house quickly.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the core of what I do now.
Okay.
And so I like that. I like renovating houses. I like taking something that's really in poor condition and making it look pretty and sellable again and putting it back on the market.
Well, I like that.
Mm-hmm.
But what if I want? Okay, now I don't have any experience. I've never flipped a home.
Okay.
So say someone who's green in the
Mhm.
industry wanted to do that. Somebody like me.
Mm-hmm.
But yet I said I don't have any background.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what I'm doing. I'm saying, what is the bottom line? I mean, how do you get started? I'm talking about from square one, ground zero.
Well, number one, I encourage everybody,
Mm-hmm.
no matter where you are, if you're 18 or 68,
Okay.
I encourage everybody to get at least one investment property to put in their portfolio.
Okay.
Just one.
This one.
And obviously that comes with after buying your own home,
Mm-hmm.
which is still the American dream. It's still the number one place to grow your money. It has a lot of tax advantages. Just buy a house,
Mm-hmm.
even if you don't plan to live in it. Some people travel. Some people love to be mobile. I don't want to be tied down.
Mm-hmm.
Buy it anyway. It's a great investment.
Okay.
But to your point,
Mm-hmm.
if you're just getting, if you have nothing about it, right,
Mm-hmm.
then as far as finding the house, or is that what you're asking me?
Yes, finding the house, securing the funding for the house. I mean, how do I do it?
Okay, so as far as locating a distressed property
Okay.
For a person just getting started out, I would start with my warm market. Let all your family and friends know, hey, this is an endeavor that I'm taking on,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm going to be a real estate investor,
Okay.
and I'm going to be doing it on a part-time basis.
Mm-hmm.
And start there. You'd be surprised just with your warm market how quickly a deal will pop up. If people take you seriously
Yeah.
and your credibility is intact,
Mm-hmm.
then the next thing you know, hey, Darryl, my sister's getting a divorce
Okay.
and they need some advice on what to do with their house, how to divest of it. Darryl, my cousin, my brother's house burned down,
Mm-hmm.
and they just want to sell the house. So you get a lot of those costs.
Okay.
If people want to get into the marketing of it, everybody has seen the bandit signs around town. We buy houses.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's marketing. That's people wanting to get a lead on a house.
Mm-hmm.
There's a site that I go to that I subscribe to called foreclosehouston.com.
Okay.
Foreclosehouston.com. I like to drop nuggets and tell people where can you go for this information. Where can you? Because I tend to believe that the more information you give, the more you help people,
Right.
it's easier on me, and it's easier on them. They learn a lot. So foreclosehouston.com, I subscribe to their list. So they produce a list every month, and it's going to have the foreclosures. You can subscribe to Harris County, Fort Bend County, Brazoria County, wherever you would like to look at them.
Okay.
So you're going to get this list of all these foreclosed houses, and then you have to analyze it. And I don't want to make it sound too simple because it's not. It can be complex, but you have to analyze that list.
Okay.
And look at all the data, and see, what deal fits, your criteria once you have it together.
Okay.
It's real estate investing is complex, but anybody can do it.
Okay.
What I found, Judith, in all these years of dealing with people who say, hey, I want to buy a house, I want to invest in a house. A lot of people express that sentiment. And then when you talk to them 3 years later, 5 years later, they've never done a deal. So what is it that's keeping people from taking that leap?
Right.
Well, you have people who are action takers. And I have a belief that action creates knowledge.
Okay.
But knowledge doesn't create action. So in other words, you can sit around and read a book, you can subscribe to these courses, and a lot of people spend a lot of money on this stuff and still never did a deal.
Right.
So take action. Don't be afraid to make a small mistake. Not one that's going to bankrupt you, but a small mistake. But there was a time when I used to hear this, find a mentor, right? And I was resistant to that because I was like, give me the book. Let me take action.
Okay.
But I've come to the conclusion that with some people, they just feel better. I was just talking to a gentleman next door to a house that we just picked up the other day, and he was like, "Hey, you remember me?" Well, he had texted me a few times, and I said, "Hey, I'll be at the house this afternoon." So he came over and he goes, "Yeah, you remember me? I came down to the house that you were doing down the street 6 months ago and said I want." I said, "Yes, now I remember you." But in the back of my mind, I was thinking, you're not going to do a deal. You're all hat, no cattle, right? But I want to help him.
Right.
But I found that what's holding him back more than anything else is the wife and her reservations, because women tend to want security. They don't want to take risks with our money. And that's been my experience. Not that all of them are like that, but that's been my experience. And so that's what was holding him back. But a mentor, if you can find someone that you respect, and trust, that can walk you through your first deal, then that's a good thing. And I've done that for any number of people. And many times I say, you know what, I need to monetize this because I give away a lot. You know what I mean? It's very time consuming. I obviously don't have time to help everyone.
Right.
So that might be, a future endeavor where where I'm looking to mentor people, and we either joint venture on deals, which we call JV for short, and or some other scenario where it's a win-win situation, because I hate to see people get into this and not win. If they fail on their first deal, or I don't even like to use the word fail, if they don't get the right results on their first deal, well, then they're probably never going to do another one.
Right.
And that's a bad thing, because it's a very qualified people. Another thing, Jude, I want to say, a lot of people who are truly interested in this, they see these commercials and gurus. You don't need any cash. You don't need any credit. Right. It's possible to do a deal with no cash and no credit. Very possible.
Okay.
But it is very rare and very difficult, especially for a newbie. It's like finding a unicorn. It's very, very hard. It's very difficult to do.
It's difficult.
Yeah. If you don't have, now, you got to have one or the other. Now, if you have cash and credit, you can, the sky's the limit. And cash flow. Let's say a high income earner like a dentist or a doctor, and they just don't have time for this. But they have the credit, they have the cash, they want to be a real estate investor. Well, we partner with them. and
Okay.
do joint ventures. But yeah, either one. If you have cash and no credit, that's easy to fix.
Mm-hmm.
Um, if you have credit and no cash, they're both easy fixes,
Easy
and they
fix.
go hand in hand. Hmm.
Okay. So let's go back to credit.
Hmm.
How do you improve if you got a 500 credit score,
Hmm.
but yet you say the lower your credit is, the easier it is to
To
inc-
get to increase the score,
yeah,
correct?
that's what you
Hmm.
said.
Hmm.
So how do you go about increasing? I mean, what are steps, tangible, specific steps to increasing your credit score?
Well, number one, start paying your bills on time.
Right.
That's the easy one.
Mm-hmm.
Number two, you want to repair, restore um, the credit. And so generally what happens is almost every company, the credit repair companies, they're going to send out letters of dispute.
Okay.
Um, we like to advise people to do hard letters, send them in, certified, return,
Okay.
address. Some people, if you know that it's erroneous and you know that it's either aged out or just needs to come off, well, then it's quicker to do it online directly with the bureaus, Experian.com, TransUnion.com,
Mm.
Equifax.com. And it's quicker to do it that way. But generally speaking, I like to write a hard letter,
Mm-hmm.
use snail mail, send it in, return, receipt requested,
Mm-hmm.
and then challenge it. So that's the first step.
Okay.
Um, Another step would be add some good credit. Um,
Okay.
Inquiries only cost you 1 to 2 points, so it won't hurt opening up new accounts.
Mm-hmm.
And if no one will give you that credit, you can go two routes.
Mm-hmm.
If you're just trying to increase your scores,
Right.
you can do secured credit cards. There are a number of banks out there that are very easy to get. I mean, 99% approval ratios, and some of them it's secured and they'll still turn you down. So it's good to know which ones so that you don't waste your time and or money
Okay.
getting a secured card. So that's a good way to start. Get a
Mm-hmm.
secured credit card. And then if you have a relative or a
Okay.
really good friend
Mm-hmm.
that would add you onto one of their accounts. We call that authorized users. So
Okay.
you can take an authorized user account,
Mm-hmm.
and let's just say I added you to one of my accounts. I said, Judith, I'm going to add you to my Bank of America account, right?
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Well, when it reports to your credit, well, then you're going to get the age, however old my account is, you're going to get the benefit of the age of that account and the payment history of that account.
Okay.
And so if it's 10 years old, and we know that age is one of the components that increases your score. How
Oh.
old an account is very important,
Mm-hmm.
extremely important. Um, so 35% of your credit score is based on your payment history.
Okay.
Another 30% is based on your credit utilization. And so that just simply means don't max out your credit cards. Try to keep them under 30%. All right.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have 20% is based on the age.
The age of the account.
Correct. Mhm. And then 10% is based on your credit mix, which is you want to have um, installment credit, you want
Mm-hmm.
to have revolving credit,
Mm-hmm.
ideally a car, a house, and pay them off. And then last but not least, inquiries make up the last 5%.
So you want to keep your inquiries down.
Yes, and inquiries stay on for 2 years. They don't automatically fall off. So if you say try to get qualified for a car, and car dealers have been notorious for running your credit 10 times. They send it out. You
Yeah.
know, it happens to a lot of people. You would
Mm-hmm.
think that the age of that happening would be over with. It's
Mm.
not. It still happens.
Right.
I encourage people to go get pre-approved through a credit union. I love credit unions. They're the
Mm.
best.
Mm-hmm.
Go to a credit union. Um, First Community is excellent. Navy Federal is excellent.
Mm-hmm.
PenFed is excellent. Um, I have like gobs of information that
Mm.
I could share with people on that. But that's a good way to get your scores up.
Okay.
Now, some things will drop off.
Mm-hmm.
Don't fall into that. Oh, we guarantee da da da. No, it's not going to happen. So if you got 10 derogatories, and let's say that half of them come off,
Yeah.
you're doing really good.
Oh, okay.
And those scores can go up dramatically, especially if you're in the low fives.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I say it's easy to go from a low fives to a 620.
Oh,
It's relatively easy to do.
okay. How much? I mean, a time frame. Like if you start working with somebody and then they had a 500, and then you're saying that they can come off, and it's easy to go from a 5 to a 620.
Mm-hmm.
But What is the duration? What is the time frame? Is that a month? Is that 3 months? Is that 2 months?
That depends on if you're going to use the credit, the authorized user. If you
Oh,
use the authorized user, the rise can be dramatic, like six
okay.
weeks or less. Let me share something with you. When I was a mortgage broker,
Mhm.
we used to train people to do that. So a lot of realtors would send me deals. Oh, my buyer got turned down.
Mhm.
I heard you could get them approved really fast.
Okay.
So what we would do is we take that method and we would take someone who just got approved, but they needed 20% down.
Mhm.
And within 6 weeks, they went from not becoming a homeowner needing 20% down to walking into a house with zero down.
Hmm.
And I got a real lot of satisfaction out of doing that. And of course, we made a lot of money doing that too.
Mhm.
I mean, we took a deal that wasn't a deal and we made it a deal.
Mhm.
And you want to help people, and but this isn't a application. For me, it's I do it for a living, so we made good money doing it, and we were always very, very fair. We didn't. We had a lot of people that were borderline predatory lending,
Mhm.
and no, we didn't do that. I had an underwriter tell me, Darryl Miller, if you don't start charging these people more money,
Mhm. Oh, they want you to take it for
yeah,
everything they
I'll
had.
never forget
Money,
that.
money,
My
money,
friend,
money, money.
yeah, she said, Darryl, you need to start charging these people more money. I'm good. I'm good. We're making decent money. No
Mhm.
need to be greedy.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
What about the elderly with the reverse mortgage? Is that a good thing? Is that a bad thing?
Ah, reverse mortgages.
Yes.
Let me tell you honestly, Judith, I've never liked them
Okay.
um, for a number of reasons.
Mhm.
But I've come to respect them
Okay.
because they can serve a real purpose for elderly people who have a lot of equity in their house.
Okay.
And if let's say Medea don't want to, just be broke and
Right.
leave her paid off house to her kids, knowing that they're going to be fighting over it,
Right.
right? A will could take care of that, but she might want her money now,
Okay.
and she can do a reverse mortgage. They take the equity out of the house.
Mhm.
You can take it in monthly payments if that's what you want, and you can take it in a lump sum.
Mm.
And so the key is when Medea passes, then what happens, right?
Mm.
So the heirs can either pay that mortgage off and take the house, or they can just let the bank have it.
Okay.
So they use a formula to determine how much they want to lend you on that. And I have only one guy that I fully trust
Mhm.
in the reverse mortgage realm right now. As a matter of fact, I talked to him about 2 weeks ago,
Okay.
and because we're personally,
Mhm.
we're at a point now where we're deciding what to do with my dad's house,
Mm.
and time is everything. Time is the most important word in the dictionary, like my uncle used to tell me.
Right.
Um, he said all those big words mean nothing. Time is it.
Mhm.
And I would love to, renovate, my dad's house
Right.
and sell it for maximum profit. But it's an hour drive from my house,
Mhm.
in one way. And I can't fit that in right now. My paradigm right now, the whole thing I'm doing is to buy back some of my time
Mhm.
and do enough renovations this year, but to focus on some of my new endeavors, particularly multifamily. Maybe we can come back and we'll talk about that.
Yeah, I was reading. It's funny. I was reading about multifamily.
Mm-hmm.
It was talking about duplexes, apartments, and different things.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Or you might start investing
Let
in
me let
those.
me throw this in too. We're gonna have to come back and talk about this because
Okay.
I'm seeing this a lot.
Mm.
A lot of our colleagues,
Mhm.
classmates, people our age,
Shout out to them.
yes, they are getting to retirement age,
Mhm.
and a lot of them retire but still work
Mhm.
because they want to make that extra income. Well, how do I make up for this lack of retirement planning over the last 20, 25 years?
Mhm.
Well, one of the ways to do that is with a strategic method of acquiring units,
Mm.
4 at a time. So I'm going to be training a couple of people on that, doing some joint ventures.
Mhm.
And what we're going to be doing is building to rent. And
Oh,
so it's
that's
going to be new
wonderful.
construction, strictly rent. And that's how it'll be a very good way to
Mhm.
not only make up some of that money, but also have the time freedom to enjoy it.
Mm.
So I'm looking forward to it's a pretty good project. and it's working all across the
Yes.
country.
All across the
And
country.
what a lot of us don't realize is Texas is the hottest state in the entire country.
Mm.
Um, we have 5 of the top markets in the country.
Mm.
And now with this whole new phenomenon, phenomenon of work from home,
Mm-hmm.
they're calling it WFH.
Yes.
Well, the migration to Texas is real. Texas, Florida, Arizona.
Yes.
People, so many people are leaving California and buying multiple houses here. And they're like, wow, you can still get this house for
I know it is
$180,000.
cheaper. People always tell me that.
Oh man, they're flocking here,
Mm-hmm.
and so they're loaded with cash, ready to invest, and from Vegas too. Some of them go to Vegas. A lot are coming here, Arizona, Florida,
Mm-hmm.
but that East Coast, that high living on the West Coast and
Right.
East Coast, people are like, I can work from anywhere now, and you're seeing a real dynamic, and we're going to see how this plays out. Real estate is very cyclical.
Mm.
Um, the next cycle is going to see a downturn. Um, how bad? I don't know. I don't think we're going to see another 2008.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're positioned properly, then it doesn't matter.
Right.
I know in 2008, I was positioned on the wrong side of that curve.
Right.
I mean, I had, you know, a couple dozen properties leveraged in them. I felt like I was going to hold them indefinitely. I managed to escape with, a couple of no bullet wounds, but some scratches,
Mm-hmm.
and but that was only due to my expertise.
Right.
And so, yeah, I don't think we'll see that again.
Right.
But you're going to see another downturn, and if you're properly positioned, you will welcome that downturn because I've seen a lot of people get rich. Some of us are old enough to remember the savings and loan crisis. When I was a mortgage broker, I refinanced a couple of portfolios with people who had 60 and 80 houses.
Mm-hmm.
And they bought a lot of those houses during the savings and loan crisis for $10, $15, $20,000. Unbelievable numbers.
Mm-hmm.
And those same houses today are worth $200,000.
My goodness. Mm.
And so it was, I was like, okay, that's the position I want to be in. When this happens again, I just want to be able to acquire and leave something when my days are over. I want to make sure my family, my kids are okay.
Right. Don't we all? So I have one question.
Sure.
That's been heavy on my mind.
Mm-hmm.
What about when someone is reconsidering or considering refinancing their home? Like I am. I'm strong considering. I mean, what are the pros and cons? I mean, is that something that we need to do, or should we just stick it out with the loan we have, or is this a good time? Or
we've had historically low interest rates for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
The Fed raised the rate a quarter of a point one day this week. I think it was Tuesday.
Okay.
The first raise in 4 years. So we're going to feel that as investors, as buyers. We're going to feel that.
Okay.
But rates just as recently as January were 3 3/4, which is 3.75. Great rate. You can get it. Credit and real estate are so intrinsically intertwined. You can't escape one without the other.
Okay.
Not just credit and real estate. If you work on your credit, every facet of your life, some jobs, you have bad credit, you don't get hired.
Right.
Insurance for your car, they pull your credit. Utilities, they pull your credit. It's very expensive living with bad credit. Very expensive. On the flip side, if you have good credit, life can really be easy. And if you maximize it, it can be a beautiful thing.
Right.
I mean, you're getting zero interest on $10,000 for 18 months. That's free money.
Yeah.
It's free money. The rewards, trips, mileage, points.
Frequent flyer miles. Huh?
It's yes. So I mean, I was on the bad credit side before, and I understood that at an early age. Ambitious, thought, hey, I got this. No, you didn't have it.
You had life by the horn.
Yep. didn't have it. So I can relate to people who, are struggling or who've had some struggles, life changes that affected their credit. It happens. And so I'm totally relatable to that. And totally okay with helping people as much as I can. But back to your question on the refi. If you can save 1.5 or 2 points,
okay,
and you intend to keep that property, then it's a very simple formula. All you have to do is say, how much is it going to cost me to do this refi?
Right.
then how much am I going to save per month? So if the refi costs you $2,000, I'm going to just use some easy numbers. If the refi costs you $2,000,
What is that closing cost?
Closing costs, you got to pay for appraisal,
Oh.
escrow fee at the title company, title insurance.
Mm.
Okay. So let's just say it costs you 2,000. The loan might cost you 1 point origination fee.
Okay.
So there's some fees in there that you cannot circumvent. Okay. So let's say it costs you $2,000 to refi, and you're going to save $100 a month. Okay. Which some people are like, I don't do that for $100 a month. Is invested properly, could be a small fortune. So save that $100 and go through the refi. So it's easy to see that if it costs you $2,000 and you save $100, it takes you 20 months to recoup that investment.
Okay.
So that's just simple math in a nutshell. You can calculate how much is this refi going to cost me? How much am I going to save per month? And as long as you plan on staying in that house for 21 months, then it makes sense to go ahead and do the refi. Take that other $100 a month and use it for something. Okay. Preferably investing.
Investing. Oh, and multifamily property.
Single family, multifamily, but just invest. I tell people just get a property, get you an investment property, and find someone that can tell you is this a good deal or not. Can make that deal happen. Can get you the money to make it happen. And that's the key. I mean, you got to find it and you got to be able to fund it.
Find it and fund it.
You got to be able to fund it. And I specialize now, since I don't do conventional loans anymore, I probably never will get back into that realm again. But as far as investment funding and how to get money to make it, that's something I enjoy doing. And we can do that, help people with that.
Oh, you can help people with that. Okay. So you said we're going to have to bring you back to talk about the multifamily, the apartments and the units and the... You said we're going to have to bring you back to talk about the units, you said?
Multifamily is a whole different ball game. And the project that we're doing, that we're going to duplicate over and over again. The challenge is going to be finding enough affordable land. But as long as I can keep finding affordable land in areas that will allow us to, then we're going to keep putting up duplexes and fourplexes. And we have a new deal that we're working on right now. We're actually going to put up 20 units on it. And another deal where I'm helping with the financing on a 100-unit apartment complex.
Oh, that's wonderful.
So even though that's not, I don't have an equity stake in that deal, just being able to do these deals gives me the preparation and the knowledge to be able to replicate it and do it over and over again. And that's when you're building real wealth, legacy wealth, when you do that.
You can replicate. So before we sign off, is there anything else that you would like to share?
Yeah, I like to be positive.
Okay.
And I like to tell people, whatever you listen to, whatever you hear, try to find that silver lining and be ambitious. Buy that investment property. Buy that investment property. If your credit's bad, work on your credit. I don't care if you're 35, 55, 65.
Right.
It helps. You need to have that good credit and buy that property. You can always reach out to me if you have any questions about real estate investing and or credit. You can always reach out to me.
How can they find you? How can they reach out to you?
They can go to my Facebook page, which I got a new page coming up. It's not live yet, but it's going to be Cribs and Credit.
Okay.
I'm sorry, creditandcribs.com.
Okay.
So that's going to be live starting on April the 2nd or 3rd. That's going to be live.
Okay.
People can reach me directly. I'm not hard to find. I'm not hiding from anybody. You can call me directly or text me 832-745-6186. 832-745-6186. Shoot me a text. Introduce yourself. If you have a question, shoot it to me.
Let's see. Do they have questions? Let's see. I hadn't looked. Okay, take action. They're listening. Okay.
Yes.
Do you all have any questions for Mr. Miller? Because I know this subject, sometimes people don't have a thorough understanding of investing, real estate, flipping houses, et cetera, et cetera. Shout out to all the Johnston Greyhounds. Darryl and I went to Johnston Junior High together. Shout out to You say Madison High School class of
Yes,
1980.
Madison Marlins, 1983.
Yeah, shout out to all the Madison Marlins class of 1983 because I know, this is a challenging subject. It's ambiguous for some people. It's just vague. I mean, when you're talking, it does make sense, but when we walk away from the table tonight, I mean, who's going to really digest it and absorb it and process this? I mean, I'm going to utilize
It's a
some.
lot. It's a lot. And I have resources. If someone wants to reach out to me, I can point them in the right direction. Um, Websites, like the one I mentioned, foreclosehouston.com,
Foreclosures.
training, videos. I've spent tens of thousands of dollars on my real estate education over the years.
Yeah.
So even though I have a lot of college hours, um, those funds that I invested in my real estate, they far surpassed
That's
what
what I
I
was
could
gonna
have learned in a classroom.
They
in
were more
college.
profitable.
Yes, yes. The return on investment was almost incalculable.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So did you back to? I want to talk about that credit card as we're exiting. When you get a credit card, you should not put that credit card up to the limit, right?
You can, as long as you pay it off every month.
At the end of the month, right?
Mm-hmm.
Pay it
And
off.
here's something that's really, really unique.
Okay.
Some people pay their credit card off every month down to a zero balance.
Okay.
But if you're trying to keep your scores high, get this. It's better to leave a small balance. Don't pay it down to zero.
Don't pay it down.
Don't pay it down to zero. Just leave a small balance, even $10, right? So the rule of thumb is to stay under 30% of utilization.
Okay.
Then you don't take a hit. But if you stay under 10% every month, you actually get points for that.
Okay.
So I tell people stay under that 10%. If you need to qualify for something, or if you want to make sure you maintain that high credit score, then keep your utilization under 10% every month. That'll maximize it. If you can't do that, then keep it under 30, so at least your scores won't go down.
Okay. So if you get the credit card and keep the utilization under 10%, then it's going to raise your credit. You say
Exactly.
Okay. Okay.
Even more so than a zero balance, believe it or not.
Sandra Hawkins from Johnston Junior High says, I see you, Sandra. Now let me read your question.
Hey, Sam.
If you have a negative thing on your credit, report example Sears, for you pay it or do you just let it fall off? Okay. Oh, so if you have a negative thing on your credit report, for example, say Sears.
I got it.
Okay.
So in that example, first of all, it's not just gonna fall off. They don't just fall off.
7 years they don't fall off?
No, they do not. And a lot of people have that misperception. They don't fall off. You have to ask for it to be removed. Okay. Now, what some companies may do is stop reporting every month. Okay, so that happens where they might stop reporting, but that doesn't delete it from your credit. Okay. So you literally have to call in if you're certain about it. You can call them. You can go online and do it. I prefer the letter writing. But if you know that account is aged past the 7 years, there's a term, DLA. That's the date of last activity. It doesn't mean from the time you open it. It doesn't mean from the time they last called you or any of that stuff. It's the date of last activity. And that's the date that they last charged you something, that you use that card, or the last time that you actually made a payment on that card. And so it's a good question too, because some people, right, if you know that this account is hurting you, let's just say it's still open, but you had a 90-day from 2 years ago, right? If you need that card, keep it, and just keep it low. Eventually you will recover from that 90-day, but it's a big hit with a 90-day. It's a big hit. I mean, that's right before it becomes a collection. And keep it. I prefer to pay it off and close it. Is my theory, because once you pay an account off and close it, it shifts to a whole nother category. Now, when you want it removed, you have a much greater probability of getting it removed now because it's closed and they moved it to a different file. Okay, makes sense. So you should pay it off. Did I answer a question? I'm guessing you did. Miss Hawkins Bill, did he answer your question? Now, as far as paying it, if that account is a derogatory and it's a collection and it's 5 years old, absolutely do not pay it. Don't pay it unless they intimate to you that if you pay it, we're going to remove it. But you've taken the hit. Your scores are probably recovering if you've managed to keep other good credit along with it. Then your scores are recovering already if it's old. And then if you only have 2 years to go, why pay it? Don't even settle it. Let it ride. I can't imagine it preventing someone from making a major purchase. It's not going to stop you from buying a house. It's not going to stop you from buying a car. Challenge it. Uh, Sears is, for the most part, they're out of business now. Um,
He says,
so,
thank you.
yeah,
Got
cool.
it.
Sam.
How you doing today, Miss Hawkins Bill? I hope you're having a phenomenal day. So I know that Mr. Miller was not feeling 100%, yet he hung on in there.
Yeah,
High five, Miss.
I think I'm gonna drink some herbal tea and go get in the bed.
Yes, so I think I am going to go ahead on and close this session out. Of course, we can have him come back again and talk to us a little bit more about the multifamily units and the apartments, the duplexes, the fourplexes, or whatever have you, and maybe perhaps we can all invest. Maybe Johnston Junior High can get together and invest in a property, Miss Hawkinsville, and we'll see where it takes us. And so, with that, I am going to have to tell you all good evening, au revoir, arrivederci. Let's thank Mr. Miller himself for coming out. Thank you, Mr. Miller. You pushed through. You made it. Great information. She says, yes, I like to learn new things. I've learned a lot tonight. And so we most definitely will have you back. And with that, again, I bid you adieu. I say good night. I say hasta la vista. I say hasta luego. I say aloha, farewell, bon voyage, bon appetit, toodles, and have a phenomenal night.
That was